We begin here at 5 o'clock with disturbing allegations surrounding a youth soccer coach in Newburgh. He's accused of trying to record a child in a bedroom and bathroom and has been arrested. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. The suspect, 47-year-old Michael Aaron Doty, is also a firefighter at Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue. Daisy Caballero is in the newsroom this evening. Daisy, you've been looking through these court records detailing these allegations.
Yeah, David, the case was first reported to the Newburgh-Dundee Police Department on August 8th, but was then transferred to the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office for further investigation. Now, court records show Doty drove the 12-year-old to his house and directed her to change in his bathroom upstairs. While undressing, documents say the girl noticed a cell phone propped up on a bench and she knew that belonged to Doty. On August 10th, his phone was collected by police. Doty was interviewed and denied the allegations. The Newburgh-Dundee Police Department's digital forensics lab searched Doty's phone and found a picture of a man in the same clothes Doty was wearing that day, bending over and placing the phone at ground level.
You know, that's where we commend the youth involved in this particular case. The youth was aware of their surroundings and actually made some observations that the youth reported to a parent, and the parent brought those concerns forward. And, you know, the youth really deserves credit for paying attention to the surroundings.
And the Sheriff's Office believes there may be more victims who haven't came forward. You can call Captain Elliott at 503-505-2706 to report any information related to this specific case. We have more details on our website, kgw.com.
Thank you, Daisy. A Gresham man has been arrested in connection with the overdose death of a Portland teenager. Authorities searched the home of 38-year-old Dwayne Hill today. They say they found counterfeit oxycodone pills manufactured with fentanyl. It's believed those pills caused the overdose death of a 17-year-old in Portland back in June. Hill is accused of selling them around the city for close to a year. Investigators say they were able to buy 3 dozen of the pills from him in a sting operation. He was arrested and faces federal charges in the case.
A group of people with mobility disabilities are now suing the city of Portland. They are claiming the city is failing to provide equal access to the sidewalks because of homeless camps and debris. The plaintiffs argue the city is in violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Federal Rehabilitation Act. They say the number of tents blocking the sidewalks makes it nearly impossible for them to get around. They're asking the federal court for 3 things. First, a declaration that the city is in violation of those acts. Second, to require the city to remove tents and debris from all of the city sidewalks. And third, to provide shelter space for those living on the streets.
Not only I have to maneuver and figure out how to get from point A to point B, because the tents shift. Every day it's different. They're at one spot and then they move to another spot, and I have to go out in the street a lot of times to get around them.
I want the city to fix Portland, get the homeless people off the sidewalks, make it clear for us.
Well, we asked the city to respond. We were told the mayor is meeting with colleagues, including the city attorney, to discuss that lawsuit.
Juul Labs has been ordered to pay Oregon $19 million. An investigation found the company marketed its vaping products to kids. The total settlement will pay out $400 million to dozens of states nationwide. Alma McCarty has a reaction from anti-smoking advocates and the company itself.
Appetizing flavors, sleek design, misleading ads, and free samples. Just some of the ways investigators say e-cigarette maker Juul appealed to youth, marketing vaping products to children and teens.
These are products that people are ingesting in their bodies that are tasting like gummy bears and churros. They're looking like candy. They look like popsicles. They look like things that are intended for children. And we are now hearing directly from this lawsuit that it is explicit.
Jamie Dunphy works for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network in Oregon. He said the multi-million-dollar settlement with the attorneys general across 34 states sends a clear message to manufacturers.
These flavored tobacco products have no place in our community anymore. Big tobacco has no right to prey on our children.
As part of the multi-state settlement, Juul agreed to stop some of its previous practices, like depicting young people in ads, using cartoons and product placement, and allowing website access without age verification. The company issued a statement following Tuesday's agreement, reading in part that it's a significant part of our ongoing commitment to resolve issues from the past. The terms of the agreement are aligned with our current business practices.
Nicotine is a deeply addictive substance, and that is really the reason we are most concerned about this.
Dunphy says, despite today's news, anti-smoking advocates have a long way to go to address the problem.
It is a direct correlation between making these products taste good and hooking the next generation of smokers, because tobacco and nicotine are the only products that, when used properly, kill the customer, and big tobacco must constantly find new customers.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Let's talk about wildfires now. And in northeastern Oregon, the Double Creek fire continues to grow. It is now up to 59,000 acres burned with zero containment. The community of Imnaha has been evacuated, with firefighters now wrapping buildings in fire-resistant fabric to try to protect them. Strong winds, hot weather, dry vegetation, all fueling the flames there. We're also keeping an eye on other fires burning around the state, including the Rum Creek fire in Josephine County. Now, thankfully, that one's been growing at a much slower rate, now sitting at just over 20,000 acres burned.
Developing right now, the teachers union and the Ridgefield School District are at the bargaining table trying to avoid a strike. Negotiations were scheduled to resume at 4 o'clock this afternoon. The strike would start Friday if no deal is reached. The union represents more than 200 teachers and staff. It's asking for smaller class sizes, investments in special ed, and competitive pay. The district posted its latest offer on its website Monday and says it is hopeful the two sides can reach an agreement.
And in Seattle, the first day of school was canceled because teachers there are on strike. Classes also canceled for tomorrow. Educators walked off the job today in more than 100 public schools across that city. They say, this sounds familiar, they're concerned about pay, mental health supports, and staffing ratios for both special education and multilingual students. The teachers union says more than 95% of its members voted to authorize the strike. The school district said in a statement it is, quote, disappointed.
Tonight we're hearing from a pharmacy owner who's already administering the updated COVID-19 booster to patients. She says the extra protection is key as we head into the fall. Mike Benner spoke with her and joins us now with more. Mike?
And Laurel, that extra protection is so important because in the fall and winter, people spend more time indoors, and it's easier for COVID to jump from person to person. Therefore, we need to get this updated COVID-19 booster because it protects against that original virus as well as the Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5.
Inside Pharmacy.com in the Emmert Cali Saigon Mall in Southeast Portland, owner Jasmine Nguyen shows us a vial of the Pfizer bivalent booster she received Tuesday morning.
1,500 dose total for the 3 locations that we have.
Nguyen says people are already calling, looking to get the updated booster shot, something we watched Nguyen herself get from a colleague.
I think it's good to get the extra booster for better protection because it's going to cover more of the new variant too.
Echoing that sentiment is Dr. Dean Seidlinger of the Oregon Health Authority. He says while reported case counts and positivity rates in Oregon have dropped in recent weeks, COVID-19 is still a threat, and it's important to protect yourself.
As we head into the fall, as more of us spend time indoors, the updated booster will be the best way to protect ourselves and those around us from severe illness and hospitalization.
Dr. Seidlinger says Oregon has already received more than 69,000 doses of the updated booster. He says another 5,000 are expected within the next few days and another 75,000 in the coming weeks.
The approved Moderna bivalent booster is authorized for persons 18 and older, while the Pfizer booster can be given to persons 12 and older. Each can be provided to a person 2 or more months after completing a vaccine series, or at least 2 months after the most recent booster dose.
Back at Pharmacy.com, Jasmine Nguyen is extending pharmacy hours to get as many shots as possible into arms.
People need help, so that's why I'm just doing whatever I can, and my staff's spreading out to get vaccine.
All right, you heard Jasmine Nguyen mention how she's already received 1,500 doses of the booster across her 3 pharmacies in Southeast Portland and Hillsborough. Well, the same cannot be said for all pharmacies and healthcare providers. Plenty of them still awaiting their allotment, and it would be wise to call ahead before you run out for that shot. Back to you.
Yeah, I've been trying to book an appointment, Mike, and it's a bit of a patchwork out there. Thank you. Let's talk about Oregon's race for governor. Democratic candidate Tina Kotek now participating in a forum on gun violence prevention. It was moderated by the founder of Moms Demand Action. That is a grassroots group fighting for gun safety measures. Keep in mind there is a measure that will be on the November ballot, Measure 114, that among other things would require permits and restrict magazine sizes in Oregon. Kotek was asked specifically about assault-style firearms in light of the shooting 10 days ago at a Safeway in Bend. Here's what she said.
I think it's very important that a young person under the age of 21 should not have access to a weapon of war. We make it too easy, and we certainly see the situation like in Bend when the shooter had access to a gun that could do a lot of damage.
The 20-year-old Bend shooter killed 2 people before killing himself. Police say he was armed with an AR-15 style rifle, which he legally purchased. Organizers say the other candidates for governor, unaffiliated Betsy Johnson, Republican Christine Drazen, were invited to this forum but did not participate.